Okay, so now it's the time to start our module number 2, in which we are going to explore relational data in Microsoft Azure Cloud. We are going to see this thing with demos in depth, but yes, this is something which is a more important module because you are going to focus only on relational data, and then we will see what kind of flavors are available in Azure. This module number 2 is actually going to focus on 3 lessons. In the first lesson, we are going to explore relational data services in Azure. So what kind of services are there? We need to know that thing in that. In lesson 2, we are going to explore how we can provision and deploy a relational database management service on Azure. We will focus on MySQL, SQL Server kind of databases in this, and we'll see that how we can provision this thing actually on the cloud. And this is going to be that lesson in which you need Azure subscription so that you can do this thing practically. And finally, once our database is provisioned, lesson 3 is going to focus on how we can write queries and we can retrieve data, we can store data in the relational format inside the Azure Cloud in SQL Server database. In this video, we are going to explore relational data services available in Azure Cloud. If I focus on in detail, then we need to focus on what kind of data services are provided by Azure Cloud. And obviously, as we know, Azure Cloud is actually going to have flavors of services in case of infrastructure as a service, platform as a service. And when you are asking for any particular relational database management system like SQL Server, then they are going to give you multiple flavors in that. We will focus on this, that what kind of differences we will get if we go for infrastructure as a service or platform as a service kind of model. Obviously, that gives you different kind of control and that will gives you different kind of costing associated with that. If I'm going with infrastructure as a service, then I need to have an Azure virtual machine which will be fully customized by ourselves, and then on top of that virtual machine we will have SQL Server installed, which can be also fully controlled by us. Then if I am not choosing infrastructure as a service and if I decide to go with platform as a service kind of model, then we can go with Azure SQL Database, which is directly available and hosted on Azure without any virtual machine infrastructure. And we are not going to manage any virtual machine in that case. And suppose if we are not looking for SQL Server database, but we are looking for the other flavors like PostgreSQL, MySQL, or MariaDB kind of databases, then those are also some other data services provided by Azure which are relational. Azure offers a range of options for running a database management systems in the cloud. And you can see on screen, these are the 4 most popular versions which are available. The first one is actually your Azure SQL Server database, which is a single SQL server allowing you to deal with the SQL database and the tables inside that. All these 4 services which are coming under the umbrella of Azure Data Services falls into the platform as a service kind of category. So all 4 are actually platform as a services where you really no need to manage a server-side infrastructure, virtual machines, or any other storage associated with that. These 4 options are having their own varieties. These services are a series of database management services which are managed by Microsoft in the cloud. Each data service takes care of the configuration, day-to-day management, software updates and patching, and security of the databases that it hosts. All you have to do is you create your own database under the control of the data services of Azure, and then you can manage the security, the data querying, and the data integrations with that. Azure Data Services are available for several common relational database management systems, and as I said, these 4 are the most popular ones of that. The second one is a MySQL database available on Azure. The third one is a MariaDB version. We'll see that thing, that what is the difference between all 4, but third one is a MariaDB available on Azure. And the last one is a PostgreSQL available on Azure as Azure Data Service. Now before we move forward, let's focus on the differences between physical infrastructure server, which we can call it like an on-premise server. Like I'm sure if you're working for an organization, then your organization is surely having an on-premise server. That full physical server is managed by your organization, not by anyone else. And then on top of that server, you can install your SQL Server, you can have multiple databases, and I think almost everything is managed by the people and the employees of organization. While when you go for the public cloud like Azure, compared to that physical server, you have to rely on infrastructure as a service or platform as a service kind of models. In infrastructure as a service, your SQL servers are going to be hosted and deployed, or I can say a better word, provision on virtual machines. So technically, your Azure cloud is providing you a virtual machine, which is nothing but something similar to your on-premise server. You can take care of the virtual networking, virtual hard drive storage. You can take care of the IP address and even the network traffic in that. And then inside that virtual machine server, your SQL server is installed so that you can take care of the databases, user security, everything inside the SQL server. Obviously, infrastructure as a service is actually giving me more control, and that's why when I choose infrastructure as a service, administrative efforts are going to increase, as well as even the capital expenditure on a day-to-day control is going to also increase with that. So somehow the cost-wise, infrastructure as a service is a costlier service than platform as a service, as well as it gives me more administrative efforts which I need to do. Things are not going to be automatically configured. I have to take care of this thing. Obviously, compared to physical and on-premise server, infrastructure as a service on cloud is a better option. But then we even have a better option, which is platform as a service. Platform as a service is not giving you any virtual machine or virtual network kind of things in that. It is just giving you a pre-configured, pre-provisioned Azure SQL database, which is actually a virtualized database version available on Microsoft Azure Cloud. You won't be able to see any virtual machine, but yes, if you want to take care of SQL Server with some kind of a SQL Server firewall security or IP address configurations for client access, then all those configurations are provided in this platform as a service. And that's why this is going to have a less administrative effort, or I can say least administrative efforts, and least day-to-day control is also going to be there. So cost-wise, this is going to be cheaper than the other two options. Which one is better and best for you? Well, that is something which we can get to know when we use it and when we actually see the requirement of the project. Hey guys, sorry for interruption. My name is Maruti and I'm here to make a very important announcement. I hope you are liking our videos and you're doing a continuous learning with us on an Azure Cloud and AI related topics. If you are enjoying this thing, I'm going to announce skilltech.club, which is our upcoming website, which is going to be launched very soon. We are here to tell you one thing, that everyone who is a subscriber of this particular channel will get Azure Cloud and Azure AI related certification courses free of cost in skilltech.club. So you will be a part of the skilltech.club kind of a membership automatically free of cost. And everyone who's a subscriber of this particular channel will get those benefits which are available in that. So what are you waiting for? I request you to please subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends and families if they are also interested in Azure Cloud and AI learning. That's it from my side. Now you can carry on with your learning. Thank you. Now if I specifically focus on SQL Server flavors or options available on Microsoft Azure Cloud, then we have three options in that also. As I said, the first one is a SQL Server on Azure Virtual Machine, which is infrastructure as a service. And when I go with the platform as a service model, in that also we have two options. The first one is infrastructure as a service, while the other two, which I'm showing you at the right side, are actually Azure SQL Server platform as a service options. Now, what is the difference between Azure SQL Server Managed Instance and Azure SQL Database? That I will tell you in the coming slide. But right now you can see that there are two options in the platform as a service. Somehow the managed instance is, the name itself is telling you that this is going to be having some management integrations or some kind of management control is also given to you if you want to manage it. And then you can also integrate that thing with your on-premise database server. While Azure SQL Database is purely a cloud-based and cloud-hosted database on Azure, which is going to give you a least control on that. Now let's move forward and let's see each one of this one by one, and we are going to compare it. First, if I focus on SQL Server on virtual machine, then this is an infrastructure as a service solution that enables users to use a full version of SQL Server in a cloud without having to manage any on-premise hardware. When you're going with this option, then you are actually not willing to take care of your infrastructure and hardware kind of part. But yes, you want to take full control of your SQL Server, and that is a place where you can choose this one. This guarantees you a compatibility to SQL Server on-premise. So if you have any on-premise SQL Server with a specific version which is installed in that, then the same kind of compatibility you can get here, and you can also integrate with that. You can take your customer managed keys, you can take care of your operating system upgrades, software upgrades, backups and replication as you like. You can just pay for the server and licensing cost, not per database. So there are chances that you have created one SQL Server on virtual machine. Virtual machine will be one and you have to pay for that. But then inside that virtual machine, if you create multiple databases, you don't need to pay for that. Yes, of course, you need to install a proper licensing with that. So maybe if you're using an enterprise version of SQL Server or just a developer edition of the SQL Server, according to that, your licensing will vary. Second option is Azure SQL Database, which is a platform as a service offering. And inside this also, when you provision this database, you have plenty of flexible options available. Like I can go with the database server on the cloud with the only single database, where I can create and run database server, and it's going to have only one database inside which I can create multiple tables and I can write queries. Or maybe I can just go with a better scalable option, which is Elastic Pool, where multiple databases can share the same resource such as memory, CPU, storage, likewise, and then I do not need to pay for single database. I have to pay for one Elastic Pool which can have multiple databases created inside that, and those databases are going to have the shared compute resources. Now if you're choosing Azure SQL Database, this is going to be one of the best low-cost option with minimal administration efforts in that. This is best for new cloud projects with flexible application design, and it also supports with variable loads, so you can scale it up, you can scale it down as per your requirement. And in the modern days, nowadays, Azure SQL Database is also available as a serverless database. What is serverless database is out of the scope of this context, but yes, you can search about that. That's also one of the advantage of Azure SQL databases. Now let's talk about the third platform as a service option, which is Azure Managed Instance. This allows you to pre-provision your compute resources and deploy several individual managed instances up to your pre-provisioned compute level. It's like you first define what kind of compute you're looking for, and then after that, on that compute, you can deploy multiple databases. It also has the facilities of automatic backup, software patching, database monitoring, and other administrative tasks. Almost 100% compatibility with your on-premise SQL Server. Now why we are saying almost or near 100%? Because there are chances that if you have a different version of SQL Server installed on-premise, then it won't allow you to integrate with that. This is actually supported by Azure Server, and this also supports something called Instance Pool, which is somehow very much similar to Elastic Pool, but in this case, the instances are going to have multiple compute resources connected like a real server. Technically, this is something like your one single SQL Server instance with multiple databases inside that, and with additional level of administrative task configuration compared to your Azure SQL Database. If I compare these two, then you can see that both are going to provide you pool. One is providing instance pool for the computers with the size of, the smaller size like 2 virtual CPUs or virtual cores like that. And the other one, which is Azure SQL Database, is providing you Elastic Pool, which is fully managed service by Azure. And then you can just simplify your scaling, you can simplify your performance and management of multiple databases in that way. If I compare these two, almost everything is possible database wise or relational database wise in both. But yes, the left side one is going to be more control with the on-premise integrations and facilities available with that, with obviously native virtual network support with that. And the right side one is going to be somehow it is available with hyperscale storage up to 100 terabytes. It is available as serverless compute, so more features are actually there in Azure SQL Database because it is managed by Azure fully, and you really don't need to take pain of most of the administrative configurations. Now after Azure SQL Server, it's the time to see the other three options which we have. We are not going to see these options practically in this particular training, but yes, I request you to read about these three things also. First one is PostgreSQL, which is a relational database service in the Microsoft Cloud based on PostgreSQL Community Edition, and this is going to provide a fully configurable database engine which is available in Azure. The MySQL is something like it started with a very simple to use kind of open source database management system, and I'm sure you know about this because it's one of the leading open source relational database system, which mostly works with Linux, Apache, PHP kind of applications into that. The third one, which is MariaDB, is a newer database system compared to the other two, and it is created by the original developer of MySQL only. The database engine of MariaDB is rewritten and re-optimized to improve the performance. Compared to MySQL, MariaDB is going to provide a better performance. The community edition of this particular database is available on Azure, which you can use for your projects, and this MariaDB is also compatible with the Oracle database. So if you want to do the integrations with Oracle database, that is going to be one of the options which is available on Azure. Now once we are familiar with all these flavors available in Azure Data Services, then obviously we need to understand that what kind of advantages we are getting when we choose one of them. Now obviously all these databases which we have seen here, like Postgre, MySQL or MariaDB, these are fully managed community databases. These are built for high availability. So compared to on-premise servers, the service level agreement provided by Microsoft is providing you high availability and obviously the lowest TCO, which is total cost of ownership. Compared to on-premise, there is no doubt whichever options you're going to choose here is going to be cost-wise cheaper and availability-wise highly available compared to on-premise because this is hosted on cloud. It can give you an intelligent performance and scaling configuration for that, which can go up to a 16 terabyte of storage and more than 20,000 plus IOPS available in that. These are integrated with the industry-leading security and compliance standard with advanced threat protection, so you can configure it, you can trust the Microsoft for that one. And then it is also integrated with the Azure ecosystem. It means there are a couple of inbuilt apps, inbuilt Azure services, like services for geo-replication, services for Azure firewall security, services for client IP detection. All these are already integrated inside this particular databases so that you can easily configure them and take advantage of that. Now after knowing all these benefits, obviously it is must to see one of the database. We can provision the database on portal and then we can see that how we can utilize this thing. But that is something which I'm going to cover in my next lesson. So in this particular video, we have seen the relational data services available in Azure, and we have not only seen the features of this, we have also compared one with the other one, and then we have discussed that which one is going to be useful at what time, which one is going to be available with the high availability, which is going to be cost-wise, cost-effective, as well as we have compared this thing with the on-premise SQL Server database.